And joining us now in the studio, host of The Hardline, which airs directly following this program, Ed Berliner. Good to have you here.
Good to see you. Never see you at all. You're buried in one corner of the office.
I know. I never get to see you. How have you been? It's been
I've been good. How's the family?
Family's great. Family's great. Four-legged kids are fabulous. You've been following this story very intensely.
Yeah.
You just heard Ambassador Woolsey speaking there. He commented about Ted Cruz doubling down on his comments about increased surveillance in some of these neighborhoods. You also heard him talking about waterboarding. What stood out in your mind?
Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what Ted Cruz said earlier today in the single, double, and now probably triple downing by what he said. Okay. I grew up in New York. I grew up in New York City. Mm-hmm. In my neighborhood growing up in New York City, we knew who the cops were. We knew who they were 7 days a week. The cops knew us. They knew where we lived. They knew when we moved. They knew where we went. They knew everything about us because that was their job. They knew the neighborhoods. They worked in the neighborhoods. As a matter of fact, the place where I grew up in New York, we had cops there that we knew for 5, 6, 7 years. They were always there. We didn't get away with much. When we did, we pretty much went to another neighborhood, but it didn't last long there either. He can quadruple down all he wants on this. Because in essence, what Ted Cruz is saying is absolutely correct. You need to know the fabric of a neighborhood. You need to spend time there. You need to have the trust of the neighborhood, the community, the people who live there. It doesn't make a difference whether they're Muslim, whether they're Jewish, whether they're Irish, whatever they are. And I grew up with all these people. I grew up in some really tough neighborhoods. And we knew who the cops were. We knew enough to keep our noses clean. And they knew us. They knew our families. They knew our brothers and sisters, and it kept the peace in the neighborhood. And here's something else to add about that.
Though. People also knew their neighbors back then. So are you saying, like, everybody's been talking about this, has been dominating the headlines when he said it yesterday, when he's doubling down on it today, or triple, whatever you want to say.
Let him quadruple down on it, because
you're
in
saying
essence,
it's being taken out of
right.
proportion.
It absolutely is being taken out of proportion. In big cities, this is necessary. In small towns, this is necessary. You're right about something else. We knew our neighbors. Right. We knew who people were. We knew the people in the neighborhood when they were new. This brings us down to something else. Judy Zasser is going to be our guest later on the Hardline, and we've had him on the show before. And one of the things we have always talked about, and I got to tell you something, Miranda, I'm tired of it. I think the people out there are tired of this as well. We are consistently hearing the same cliches. Here we have over 30 people dead in Brussels. What are we hearing? We've got to do a better job. We've got to do this. We've got to knuckle down. We've got to get to the ground. It's the same law enforcement cliches we've heard over and over again. Let's get to something new. The question that I have asked for years now is, why do we not hear the people in the Muslim community? And I'm going to use this phrase. Hang on, my IFB just came out, so I'm going to get rid of it. That's all. I don't need to hear it. No, I don't need. That's a technical kind of thing. You don't need to hear that. But here's the thing. When it comes to these neighborhoods,
is that what you're saying?
We need to have the people in the neighborhoods who belong there, who want to belong there, who want to be part of America, who then are willing to speak up. The biggest question is why, and I ask this of a tremendous amount of the people from CARE and other organizations as well, why do we not hear Muslims in the community speaking up, asking for help, going to the cops, saying, we got a problem here.
Right.
We didn't see it in Brussels. We don't see it in other places. They must speak up and be part of the American fabric. And I think they're willing to do it, but they're scared because of the retribution that they fear from those in their neighborhoods who want to shut them up and keep them quiet.
I'm sure that is part of it, and that's what Dr. Jasser is going to be talking about on your show. Again, that's coming up right after Newsmax Now. You can see it right there, 6 o'clock Eastern Time.
It's not a bad picture either. It doesn't have my IFB popping up. So
you look great. Ed, thanks so much for joining.